So they're in a school basically learning, and this teacher, oh my gosh, I don't like this teacher. But anyways, he decided to call out Will on purpose that can't use magic in the magic school and tells him to perform a spell to create fire. And dude was basically like, listen, it's gonna be funny for the whole class. Set an example for everyone who you shouldn't be, you magicless runt. And obviously when he tried, nothing came out. And he ain't surprised about it and started talking down on him. And this dude right here, he highly reminds me of Bakugo, so call him Bakugo 2.0. But if you really want to know his name, then it's Scion. But dude thinks he's him throughout the whole entire class, and he embarrasses Will on purpose as well. They basically doing a tag team. Once they got done showing off the spell, dude decided to talk more trash against Will. And that was basically the end of class.
Meanwhile,
so Will just got done with the class, but he's basically used to it. And yes, I said used to it. Bro had to deal with this for the longest time. But anyways, after class, there were 3 people was waiting for him. He's gonna keep on talking trash, but he instantly fools as soon as Colette comes into the scene. But not only that, she puts him in his place. She's also the W female in the series. She deserves Will more than anyone. I don't care what anyone says. So they were walking and she's trying to check up on Will, but Will assures her that it's okay, and he accidentally sweeps her off her feet. And we get to know his goal more, and he wants to make it on top of the tower and not Tower God. And his childhood friend is waiting for him. And you know how these stories go because they always make a promise, and that's basically his whole motivation.
A few moments later,
bro was getting lectured by going to the dungeon alone, and he was basically just looking out for his well-being, especially compared to everyone else. But they were talking about credits and about how Will's lacking on some, but he's able to get more credits if he goes to dungeons and kill some monsters. But the professor managed to go get a dungeon that he's able to raid himself, and Will was super grateful for that. W professor, by the way, I don't care what anyone says. And honestly, nothing can go that easy, because while all that was going on, Scion was listening to the whole thing, and he wants to clear the dungeon before he can, so he can get no credits for it, so he can get kicked out of the school. Your hater mentality. So while Will was exploring the dungeon, and bro was pumped up about it, but obviously there's another person in the dungeon, and it's Scion with his lackeys. But one of them actually questioned why they're doing this though, and it was crazy that he actually asked. He was using his brain, but his brain clocked out too early because he didn't decide to quit. And this is how the conversation went. So hey boss man, I have a question. Why are we exactly doing this? Like, I think it's really pointless, and on top of that, I only have 1 mini left. Listen, I don't care about you or your mini potions. And other two, don't say anything as well or I'll mention everyone about your sister's OnlyFans. But what did I do? And they decided to keep on going. So while they were adventuring, one of his lackeys got hit with a Falcon Punch special. And he ain't getting up anytime soon. And can we talk about bro's face for a quick moment? It looked like he did not care at all. He was just aura farming. But then Will heard a commotion that was going on, and he went straight towards the action. Once he managed to get there to analyze the scene, we see Scion struggling. Not only that, he lost all his aura points. All because of this monster. But the thing is, Will was actually debating if he should save his life or not for all the times he bullied him. But that's some valid thinking. But he thought about his childhood friend. He knew that she wouldn't like that. So he said, you know what, it's time to lock in. So while the monster was about to get his free loot from the knocked player, Will managed to counter it in time. And that's when the real battle begins. Will was holding his ground like he was fighting Ganondorf, and he managed to slice up one of its fingers. Yo, Itadori, I got you a finger. I'm joking, calm down. So the monster was not trying to have that and tried to slam him to the ground. But Will managed to dodge it because he's him. But he did a clean counter for it. Once that happened, the monster said bet and got a clean hit on Will. Then throw some rocks at him so he can play some Beat Saber. But hey, bro got the world record. So bro started charging at it and then broke his ankles. Will was just breaking ankles in basketball. Then he comes out like he's Sephiroth and gets the monster on his shoulder. While all this was happening, he had 2 special spectators. And the professor's like, you shouldn't be downplaying him like that. He got the skills and all. But he's gonna keep on hitting just because he don't have magic. He really just need to give this man some props. I just gotta say that. So while all that was happening, the monster tried to attack Will again, but he missed. So Will used his sword as a platform, and the monster was heated about that. So the monster tried to swipe Will like a credit card, but it failed, but it also put Will in a bad spot. So it tried to land a final blow, but Will analyzed the attack pattern. So he swerved the attack and took away its arm. Bro was making sure he's putting all the pressure, so his sword fell behind him. So bro was walking towards it while it was still struggling, and bro challenged his final attack. And while all that was happening, Scion was watching like 2 Conquerors hockey was clashing. So the monster charged it up the attack, and Will seen the vision. So he caught the blast and reflected, and it was basically game. So once bro made it out of the smoke, he's trying to see if Scion was okay. But bro was heated, even though his life got saved. And there was one more person that was heated. And of course, it was Edward. So he left mad after that situation happened. And that was basically it for that day.
tomorrow.
So Will got scolded again. But at the very end, he didn't mind because he was just basically safe at the end. And he earned some credits. And now he's a few steps closer to his goal. Later on in the day, Will was learning about the tower, but nothing really too special that he don't know about. But the main thing happened after class. His lackeys that had managed to survive was talking about how he able was a slave to this monster. But Cyan already knows that it was not him, and he did not want to take the credit. So then he saw Will and started pressing him about what happened. But Colette came by and stopped the situation, and that was the end of that for now.
Meanwhile,
So we see Edward ranting about Will's strength, and he demanded to know if he actually had magic, and turns out it was still true. And she was saying that he don't have no magic and he needs to calm down. But dude was heated at maximum capacity. So she was like, go test your strength against him then. You ain't going to win. So he takes a challenge and off he goes. So while Will was studying with a W female, Edward appeared out of nowhere like he was prepared to do a jump scare. And he was basically like, run me my fade. And Will was confused. So he brought Will to a stage where it has the least amount of lag. Basically a training stage. So Will trying to ask him what's going on, but dude was already smirking. You know you can't trust someone in a smirk like this. Because he immediately gave Will a warning shot and tell him to fight back. And he said if you win, he'll give him some credits. And that's when the battle begins. So he decided to summon a huge magic spell, fires it off at Will several times. And while all that was happening, Professor had to watch the whole thing. And he thought it was insane because he was the closest one to the highest ranking. But Headmistress was not worried about it because she knows that he's going to win. So Will decided to go and charge up and hit him with a nasty kick. But he had a barrier to protect him. He earned a 10 out of 10 for me with that kick he pulled off. But bro found that as an insult, pushed him back, and fired off another spell at him. He's making sure he's trying to take him off the radar. So he decided to cast multiple spells while Will was down, and he unleashed everything at him. You can tell that he's having fun with this too. But the crazier part about everything, Will was handicapped. And you might be questioning what I mean why he's handicapped. There's one main thing he was missing throughout the whole entire fight. And if you've been following, you already know. It's his sword. And if you said anything else, come here real quick. Come here real quick. I told you to pay attention. Anyways, you cool now? While we see all this happen, we see Colette worry about Will. Can you really blame her though? But then she sees Kiki injured and try to get to Will's locker. And the reason why we see her injured because that's Will's familiar. So she helps gets Will's stuff and rushes towards his aid.
a few moments later.
So Will was basically beat and he basically couldn't do nothing. So add insult to injury, this man steps on his head. So he used that chance to talk crazy about him. He was like, you ain't gonna be a magic vendor, you ain't gonna see your friend, this, that, and the third. This man was talking crazy. All because he just dislikes him for not having magic. But once he said something about his friend that's a magic vendor, bro took no more BS and got his foot off of him. So he took out his goggles and locked in. So the W female man should come in time conveniently and toss his sword at him. And she was happy to give the sword to him. But you see how Edward's mad though. He knows he was fighting someone handicapped. That's why he was heated. So he tried to fire off the same attack, but Will countered it. Oh, and then he's shocked now because of the sword. He thought things were still easy. So he filled the room out with flames and made himself more menacing. But Will was prepared for what's to come. So Will starts charging after him and he used the broken rocks to gain distance. If I was bro, I would have started questioning on why he did that. And on top of that, he reflected my attacks. That's when you know he locked in. So Will tossed some materials at the barrier because he knows he's going to need it. Then he decided to go into the air and hit his signature Gojo pose. Then he goes down and breaks the barrier that he was so proud of. Once that happened, he went for the attack and it was basically game. So that's when basically Will passed the test. Bro was heated, but he gave in his word. That's when Colette checks up on Will, and he was basically beat. So the headmistress was like, I told you, you don't need to worry about it. And that's basically the end of this episode. And I'm not gonna lie, I would cover more, but I'll save it for another video though, in my personal opinion. I didn't really expect it to take this long, but hey, here we are now. And for the people who have not watched With Story yet, I don't see why not you shouldn't start on it. It's really good in my personal opinion. The full episodes is out. English dub or sub, whatever which one you prefer. And I ain't gonna lie, during this video, I felt like, well, it was more likely that I was glazing Will the maximum capacity. And I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really mean it to be like that, but if it does seem like that, then you know, it is, I guess. I don't know what to say about that if I'm being completely and utterly honest. But I talked a little bit too much and I'm gonna end things right here now. I really do hope that you enjoyed this type of video. If you did enjoy it, I like, really appreciate it, share, be nice. Make sure you check out in the description. I do have a Discord server and I do stream on Twitch as well. I stream gacha games or any other games, and I also do watch streams as well. So if you want to tune in and want to chat with me about some anime, and go on ahead. And finally, I just want to say thank you for the support lately. It means a lot, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I treasure y'all. But that's besides the point though. I really do hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you next time in a different video. If not, I hope you have a good life. I love y'all.